The newsday continues here on One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The Customs Bureau maintained its momentum and surpassed its collection target for the first half of the year. During the period, the Bureau collected over 434 billion pesos in duties and taxes. That's more than 3% higher than the 420 billion peso target for the first 6 months. First half collections were also up by 37.43 billion pesos from a year earlier. The Bureau says it saw an increase in revenue despite the challenges in import volume, which contracted 2.8% this year for high-value commodities. Customs attributed its improved revenue to anti-smuggling efforts. The Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council, or LEDAC, has identified 20 bills for Congress approval by the end of 2023. Among them are 2 bills proposed for inclusion by the Bangko Sentral. These are the amendments seeking to ease the bank secrecy law and a proposal to regulate the use of financial accounts. Recall that last month, the Financial Action Task Force kept the Philippines in its gray list, or those countries that are under increased monitoring for money laundering and terrorism funding risks. Of the 20 priority measures, 16 had already been approved by the House of Representatives during the first regular session. One analyst says a 4% inflation rate seems attainable by September. Economist June Neri told The Big Story that this figure can be reached only if month-on-month uptick in food prices remain manageable. He stressed that if this trend continues, the country's inflation rate may further cool down to just over 3% come year end.
Next month, if we see the wage hike having some minimal effect, it could actually fall below 5% very quickly. But from September onwards, the declines are going to be a little bit slower. So if we're lucky, by September, we should be at 4% or lower. If we're lucky, by November, December, we should be very close to 3%.
Neri noted, however, that the effects of the upcoming wage increase will affect July figures. He also added that food prices may increase due to the impact of El Nino.
Wage hike will start to kick in for the July figures and onwards, no? From July onwards. And then we're actually are going to see a fair hike for the LRT for August, no? After I think 3 straight months of decline in food prices. So one of the drivers of the increases in month-on-month food inflation could be the dry spell.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. An agricultural group says there should be no increase in the prices of rice and other goods until the end of the year. According to the Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura, the country has enough of rice, pork, and poultry supplies until year-end. This even as Pag-asa has declared the onset of the El Niño phenomenon in the country. SINAG says there are no supply issues currently and there should be none expected in the coming months. This as the group says majority of the volume of imports are expected to come in the latter part of the year.
Yung tapat na tayo ay magkakaroon ng shortage, palagay ko ay hindi naman siya mangyayari. At hindi problema ang supply kasi baka sabihin dahil sa El Niño tataas ang presyo. Papangunahan na po natin, may stocks tayo, may supply tayo, sana walang magsamantala na magtaas ng presyo dahil sa sinasabing pagkukulang.
The El Niño phenomenon, however, is feared to affect the next cropping season. Farmers are advised to hold off from planting crops to avoid losses in case of extreme heat or drought. Meanwhile, the government raised the need to secure supply of pork from local hog raisers, as well as frozen meat in cold storage facilities. This comes as the DA says it has yet to consider importing meat. President Bongbong Marcos admits that agricultural products were among the primary drivers for inflation. For this reason, the government is now working to ensure prices do not become too big a burden on consumers.
We will try, of course, to continue to bring it down, but that requires our success in increasing our production, making it more efficient, and again, the value chain that I'm always talking about ad infinitum already, but it's really the answer.
Love the Philippines will remain the official tourism slogan of the country. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco confirmed this on the sidelines of a forum at the PICC on Wednesday. Despite many Filipinos admitting that they do not love the new tagline, the tourism chief is standing by it. In fact, she repeated the slogan several times during her time on the podium.
Love the Philippines. We all love the Philippines. There are just so many reasons to love the Philippines.
During the event, Frasco also highlighted the continued recovery of Philippine tourism. She noted that international arrivals reached 2.7 million as of July 5. With these figures, the Secretary is hopeful that they can surpass their targets by the end of the year.
Philippine tourism is well on the road to recovery. The Philippines is back. The Philippines is open and ready to tell the world the Filipino story because there are just so many reasons to love the Philippines.
Looks like Twitter has found its biggest rival. Meta Platforms has launched a text-based microblogging app called Threads, creating the biggest threat yet to the embattled Bird app owned by Elon Musk. Meta's CEO and co-founder Mark Zuckerberg announced the debut of Threads on Wednesday, marking the official release of the social media networking giant's messaging app. The launch also comes after Twitter announced a slate of restrictions on the app, including the need to be verified in order to use TweetDeck. Threads allows users to follow the accounts they follow on the photo sharing platform and keep the same name. A social media analyst believes Threads will overtake Twitter in a blink of an eye if it attracts enough of its users from Instagram. The new Threads app is now available for download for free on Apple Store and Google Play.
I think Threads is going to pose a huge threat to Twitter because it's coming from the Meta and Instagram family of apps. Instagram has 2 billion users compared to around 250 million of Twitter, so it's about 10 times bigger already. So if only 1 in 10 Instagram users tries using Threads, it's overtaken Twitter in the blink of an eye.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.